Hi Capricorn, welcome to your August 2019 Astro Updates. It's Rena here, and this month we start August with a cluster of planets in your 8th house in the sign of Leo. So we're talking about the sun, we're talking about the moon, which happens to be a new moon. In the northern hemisphere, or at least where I live, the new moon was exact on July 31st, but it is going into the beginning of August period. So I'm really talking about coming out of the gate, on August 1st. We have the sun in that 8th house, the moon in the 8th house, Venus and Mars in the 8th. Okay, what does that mean? Well, the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. And Scorpio is a sign, the 8th house is described as sex, death, and other people's money. And metaphysics, the secrets of life, secrets in general, transformation. There are many things that the 8th house represents. Power is a big issue. And transformation, it's an inner type of power. Because the 8th house is a water house. So the stuff that is going on in an internalized way. But even just in a worldly sense, we could say this is shared resources. So when you have Venus in this house, Venus can indicate money. But Mars is there too. So there could be like a fight over money that has to do with perhaps an inheritance, or even if this is a divorce hearing, or, I wouldn't call it a trial, but, divorce proceedings, where money is kind of coming up, the money that you and a partner, soon to be ex-partner, earned while you were together, who gets what, and things like that. The sun and the moon being here are also indicating this sense of the masculine and the feminine in this 8th house. Now, it's very interesting because we could even be talking about family issues where it's the mother and the father, and something with a probate issue, and maybe it's even both of them and their estate, and it would be interesting if they were getting divorced and you had to be kind of that intermediary type of a thing. That would be kind of a bit difficult, but that could be what is going on. But the sun and moon both here can just indicate that right now you are kind of keeping to yourself, keeping your own counsel, if you will, and that there is an emotional intensity happening in your life for some reason. Capricorn is an earth sign, so you don't tend to get too bent out of shape about things in life. You tend to try to view things in a pragmatic fashion and not, deviate from your goals, because you are a very ambitious person. So emotional drama is not something that you specialize in, and you don't really like it, I'm sure. You would rather be productive and do things that get you where you want to go. So whenever you have a situation like this, it can feel kind of like uncomfortable, or something that you want to deal with as soon as possible so that you don't have to experience it. And lucky for you, I think things are going to really lighten up towards the end of the month, because then those same planets are going to go into Virgo. And Virgo is much more compatible with you than Leo because Virgo is a fellow earth sign. So you're going to have more of an affinity for the themes of Virgo, what Virgo represents versus Leo. Because Leo can be a drama queen type of an energy. And Mars in Leo is like me, look at me, I'm special. I'm a special little snowflake, that kind of thing. So I think you're going to prefer that kind of Virgo type of industrious vibe at the end of the month. On the 11th, Jupiter turns direct in Sagittarius. And this is for you, your 12th house. So Jupiter in the 12th house is kind of an interesting place to have this transit. This may be a situation, Capricorn, where you have been finding that a lot of the expansion of your life, which Jupiter specializes in, has been more of your inner world. And your inner world can be your own, I was going to say your own your own psychology. Now that's kind of, we could get off into on another tangent with that one, because the 8th house, which I was just talking about with all that energy at the beginning of the month, is a house that's associated with the psyche, somebody's psychological motivations. But the 12th house really is even more of that, because it's mental health, but also the consciousness itself. And this is where the spiritual influence of the 12th house comes in, because Pisces rules the 12th house, and its opposite sign, Virgo, rules the 6th house, which is of physical health and, worldly matters like work and health, but physical health, and the 12th house being mental health, we can also say spiritual health, because I really do believe that those are one and the same, is that, one's mental health is connected to their spiritual health. And so you may have made that connection yourself in some way recently. And, this could be for a variety of reasons. You may have tried to feel better in a conventional way and realize that the best way to do that for you was to meditate and to examine your thoughts. And this is something that, like a hermit, I think of the hermit in the tarot, would do, which is be alone with one's consciousness, their thoughts, and be able to kind of dissect them in a certain way in order to get to the root of them. And obviously the ultimate goal is to be able to understand yourself better so that you can function better, but also so that you can advance spiritually. And Jupiter in the 12th house is great for advancing spiritually. It also can indicate money coming from some kind of maybe past good karma. You may get it in a very, unexpected way. Well, I don't know if unexpected is the right word, but coming at the 11th hour, it's almost like from the angels, or just because of your own good works that have a karmic connection. Jupiter can be financial gain, just like Venus can. And also just Jupiter in the 12th house can be that you have good luck with any pursuits that have a spiritual nature to them. So this could even involve if you have been wanting to learn how to read the Akashic records, or even have your own records read, or doing something along those lines, getting a past life regression, anything that you feel would enhance your life that has that, past life or spiritual connotation to it, you might find that you really gain from that. So that's Jupiter is going direct. So this is going to be more forward motion. Whereas when it was retrograde, you may have been even still thinking on those things that connect you to spirit, and, deciding what is valuable to you and what isn't. On the same day, Uranus goes retrograde in the 5th house of romance and art. So you've had Uranus here for a few months in Taurus, and this is going to be for the next 7 years. And that Uranian energy is very unpredictable. For single Capricorn individuals who are looking for love, Uranus in the 5th house can indicate attracting partners who are countercultural, hippies, people who are nonconformists. And for you, this could be quite an odd couple, where you are the conservative and they are the deadhead. But, the interesting thing about it is that there can be Capricorns who are very progressive, even though, Capricorn is associated with being quite, traditional and things like that, into conventional living. There are Capricorns who have inner planets in Aquarius because it's right next to you. And you may have more of that kind of a vibe yourself. So it wouldn't necessarily be an odd couple for you to meet an Aquarius and get involved with them. But in any case, you could be meeting people who are a little bit out of the norm. And this could be right up your alley, or this could be like a free-spirited type of person. This person could give you a bit of contrast that you need to see how the other half lives, because you tend to be very structured in your life, and they will tend to be very unstructured. Uranus rebels against everything, and that could include having a 9-to-5 job, living in one place. There could be a lot of things. But now that Uranus is going retrograde, the kind of people, if you're just like meeting people and you haven't settled on anyone, this could be like really crazy. But you might even have this within yourself where you just don't want to settle down. So you want to just keep meeting people and meeting people. And the thing is that, especially if you have been coming off of a long-term relationship, I mean, this could simply be part of the process of healing and kind of like integrating your experiences so that you can move forward. So it's not necessarily that big of a deal, but just wanted to give you a heads up. And Mercury is going to also, on the same date of the 11th, go into Leo, actually go back into Leo, because that's where it was when it retrograded. So again, we're talking about the 8th house for you. So Mercury actually went back into the 7th house. So it does make me wonder if some of you have some kind of court case that you're dealing with. Mercury can be like speaking to the lawyer, and then you got the contract that you have to sign, or or going into the courtroom and dealing with that. So maybe now you're ready to kind of resolve something that has to do with an estate or a marriage or divorce proceedings, something along those lines. Maybe child custody or not custody, but child support issues too could be that. On the 15th, we have a full moon at 22 degrees of Aquarius. This is happening in your second house of earned income. For some people who are of retirement age, this could be like you ending this source of income, which comes from your job. That doesn't mean you're ending income altogether. You could have a pension, you could have retirement funds, but speaking specifically of how you have earned money thus far, full moons can bring things to a climax or a culmination, if you will. So if you are working at a certain job, maybe you get a raise, and this is because of past efforts that have garnered you this. Or maybe you've taken courses that allow you to qualify for a higher salary. So in other words, certifications and things like that. So that could be like an increase in your income. On the 18th, Mars goes into Virgo. This is the first planet to go into Virgo. So now we're looking at, for you, the 9th house. And the 9th house is Sagittarius' house, and this is the house of expansion. So this will tend to bring themes of higher education, something to do with religion, God, philosophy. And sometimes these can be like you thinking about a new way of living. Like you may have always had in your mind that you had to do things a certain way. And you're kind of broadening your vision a little bit and changing some of those things. And that could affect things. But it's also foreign travel, and Mars is very active. So certainly it could be that you're traveling, or in some cases, if you are entering a university, and maybe it's far away as well, so it covers both of those. And it could be mental travel, physical travel, anything that, spiritual endeavors that broaden your vision of or concept of life and what you're here to do, and just what it all boils down to for you, which is your life philosophy. On the 21st, Venus goes into Virgo in that 9th house. So Venus, for single people, this could be meeting somebody of a different culture, a different country, and this could be like being attracted to somebody. I don't know if they ever say different race. It's usually, geographical. I don't know. It could be because it's somebody, because again, the expansion, this is one of the things that happens when you do fall in love with somebody who is not of the same background, whether it's, like cultural. We'll just put it like cultural because that can encompass race and ethnicity. You can't help but experience expansion. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a perfect relationship and that it will actually work out, but it gives you insight into things that you would not have if you were dealing with somebody who comes from a similar background as you do. But obviously it has to be organic. It has to be something that you're feeling. It can't be something that you're doing as a reaction to something else, or just based on liking somebody's looks that happen to be quite different from your own, that you're just attracted to a certain look. And I'm talking more about gaining insight into the fact that there are differences, in the world, but that at the core, there are a lot of commonalities. And being able to navigate between differences and still seeing the unity at the same time. Venus in the 9th house could be having to do with receiving money to be able to go to college, or something along those lines, if that was a problem for you. And definitely when all these planets were in the 8th house, because it is shared resources or other people's money, this could even be loans that you were trying to get. And maybe you're trying to get it through your parents and who's going to fund my college, and just asking around. And now you have the money. On the 23rd, we have the sun going into that 9th house. And so, for one thing, you have the sun going into Virgo, so that's great because that really complements you as a Capricorn. But the other thing is it's going into the 9th house, and being Sagittarius's house, this gives you a lot of optimism, a lot of just kind of like looking at life more philosophically instead of just, the typical pragmatism that really, helps you go far in the world, Capricorn. But in order to navigate your inner world, the 9th house is great for abstract knowledge or wisdom. On the 29th, Mercury joins the party in the 9th house. And if you're traveling, Mercury could be the passport, something that you need to gather to get it all together. Maybe you're going to be teaching abroad or something along those lines. Mercury is about the mind. If you are in a different country, you may be really pursuing this trip. It has a real educational purpose, perhaps. And it's not just, sitting on a beach with a drink with an umbrella in it. It's something more than that that's stimulating to your intellect. And you could even be teaching abroad. On the 30th, we have a new moon in this sector at 6 degrees of Virgo. So this is great for new endeavors that involve travel, involve education, higher education, so college level, or spiritual education. So it could even be like a yoga teacher, maybe combining that yoga and travel, which seems to be, a big thing now, of like having these yoga weeks where, people go to a spa and they do yoga, and they also get to relax and have a vacation and eat, healthy food. So that could be something that you have been starting and things like that. So in any case, anything to do with publishing is 9th house. And it's a very, the month may start out a little bit more intense and then end up very kind of feeling that sense of becoming more than what you have been, which is what expansion really is about. Is really about opening your mind to new things, people, places, and things, and that sense of stimulating your mind, but in not just for some kind of like trivia, but so that you really can become more open-minded and more wise. Okay, Capricorn, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a personal reading, my website is rainamoonastrology.com, and the link is below. Take care. Bye.